We are recording,
He's working on it.
and we will put a,
Oh, yeah, no, I kind of memorized the whole thing. Yeah, he said he didn't get that. I got the other one, the other email from you. I didn't see that. I spoke to yesterday. That's okay.
okay, we'll open the meeting at 5:29. And we'll get underway here. We got a minutes to the meeting. You want to wait, Brown, unless have you got any questions or anything like that about the minute? Take a motion to approve if you
I'll
want.
make a motion, we approve it.
Second, somebody? David? Second?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Third.
Okay. We have some guests here, but I think this could run into a little bit of time. So we're gonna run through with Gail Associates, and she's gonna give us her update, and then we will go from there. And you guys have all the time you need.
No, thank you.
Okay?
Okay, Jackie, 81?
I am on. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Great. I appreciate, again, this is Jackie Marks with Gale Associates. I appreciate the flexibility this evening as we don't have a whole lot to update the commission on this evening. But the ongoing project that Gale has with the airport is the environmental review for upcoming projects. And that consisted of an obstruction study, which we've reviewed at a previous meeting, as well as an environmental document called a categorical exclusion, which effectively reviews proposed upcoming projects for any potential environmental impacts. So the obstruction study report has now been reviewed by the FAA and Mass DOT. Gail is working on addressing those comments and making any appropriate changes. Really, everything was very, very minor in nature, and will provide the airport, Mass DOT and FAA with our responses by a comment matrix, as well as a final version of that obstruction study report. The environmental document, the drafted categorical exclusion, has been provided to Jim and Isabel for review. It doesn't require a commission vote. It's, information that has been reviewed with the commission and has approved the projects that are going into this. And so provided that to Jim and Isabel, and hopefully we'll schedule a call sometime next week to answer their questions and then make any revisions before submitting that document over to the FAA.
That's on the, which part of that obstruction?
So the document, the environmental document, the
Yeah.
categorical exclusion document, that I sent over this afternoon, to both of you. You may not have seen it yet.
Right.
But I'll go over that with both of you next week, Jim and Isabel, and answer any questions that you have. It's very straightforward. It's the two tree clearing projects that we've discussed, at length at this point. The fencing project that we've, again, discussed at length. The commission has reviewed all those plans and accepted them. And then the easement project that we'll discuss in just a minute. So those are all being reviewed for any environmental impacts, and when you open up the document, you'll see it is a checklist with some paragraphs explaining the reasoning for those answers, and then it is some attachments, just figures and things, backup documentation that might be needed from the FAA.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, and so the other item that I wanted to talk about tonight is, and I know Jim and Isabel have talked to you you about this at length. I know we're waiting on the city to confirm local share funding for the Avigation easement acquisition project. And for anyone in the room who may not be familiar, an Avigation easement is an airspace easement that gives the airport the rights to go onto private property and remove trees that might be penetrating the approach surfaces and creating a safety hazard. So when you have obstructions off airport property, FAA requires, in order to, pay with federal dollars to take those trees down, FAA requires that the airport has perpetual rights to not only remove the trees, but then go back and maintain those areas in perpetuity. So that's why, you pursue, when you're going for FAA funding, you pursue an airspace easement rather than just a tree clearing agreement with that property owner. So the next steps for this would be if the city agrees that the funding is available at the local level, I think it's important to schedule a meeting between yourself, Isabel, Jim, representative from Gale, likely Matt, maybe myself also, city finance is there. Just due to the nature of the project, it's really important to discuss the project details, the timeline, certain challenges that might come up before scoping the project, just because, you're not dealing with on-airport, you're not dealing with on-airport lands that the airport has control over. You're dealing with private property owners, so we want to make sure that everyone is well informed of what is going on and, any sort of implications, and just communicate all of that to everyone. So just wanted to make sure that, just give you that update and, let you know that we are here to assist in any way that you need. Answer any questions again that you have about easements, airspace easements, and what those projects might look like.
Okay.
Now, is this going to be at the 5% level that the city's going to be obligated, or 2.5%?
So
Depending
the
on
airport at this point in time, FAA confirms that projects in fiscal year 2026 will receive 2.5%. Will receive 95% federal funding, requiring 2% local share. I'm not sure what will happen with projects beyond that.
Okay.
And in order to apply for a grant application, you have to have the easements, you have to have property rights in hand to apply for the grant funding. Now, the 2026 grant application deadline is April of 2026. We may be able to request a little bit of an extension, but realistically, what an easement project entails is, first of all, reaching out to property owners, doing a title search to make sure that that property owner actually has rights to negotiate and fair market value for an easement. You have a surveyor that has to go out and actually survey the boundaries of the property, so that when you're developing the easement deed language, you know that you have the meets and bounds, that are correct and legal. You have to have first of all, an appraiser go out to assess the fair market value of the easement, because it's not something, that the airport's release, it's something that they buy from the property owner, and you want to make sure that the property owner is receiving that fair market value. So you have an appraisal done, and then that appraisal is actually reviewed independently by a third party, just to make sure that, again, that the price is fair, and then, if eligible, so of course coordinate all of those things happening, and then to negotiate with the property owners on the airport's behalf, prepare all of the closing documentation, again, I'm not certain at this point, given the amount of time now that's gone by, that it's realistic to get those easements in hand in time to submit a grant application for the spring of 2026. That being said, the airport does still have the bipartisan infrastructure law, BIL funding available. There are, I think, I reached out to FAA, you have about $255,000 left in BIL money that has not been spent yet, and that money is guaranteed at that 95% share regardless of the fiscal year. So there may be, there may be some room to work with that money as well, but at this point, I'm not certain that the whole project will receive the 95% federal funding. There may be a portion of it where the local share will be 5%, again, just because of the timing of everything.
Okay, sounds good. We'll just
Okay,
get-
and
Go on,
on that
man.
update that I had sent to both of you, I know it seems like the email for some reason didn't come through, so I can send it another way. I'll send you a link using my OneDrive account instead so that you can see it. But as part of that update, it does have a breakdown of the estimated costs, and it has a breakdown of what the cost would be to the local share at 2.5% and the local share at 5%. And likely at this point, you're probably looking at falling somewhere in the middle of that number, just depending on how much the cost of everything and all that.
Yeah,
So let me send you this update again with the summary so that you actually have the funding breakdown right in front of you, and then we can kind of go from there. I expect Isabel and Jim that you and the three of us will talk next week anyway about the environmental project.
Yep.
We can kind of talk in a little bit more detail about this stuff too.
okay, that sounds good. We'll look forward to looking at it again. I think I got it somewhere, but
You do, okay.
But we can
I'll
send it again.
I'll send it again right now using a OneDrive link because I know sometimes I just attached a PDF, so I think sometimes that can get caught up in spam and stuff like that. So I'll just send it this way as well, so I know you have it.
Okay, thank you.
thanks.
You're welcome. Is there anything that you're missing from Gail that you need from me or that I can help address at all?
I'm good right now,
Okay.
so,
All right. Well, if there are no further questions, I will hop off. And again, I appreciate the flexibility tonight. I would wish everybody, happy holidays and hope that everything. You have a great time with your families and all that over the holiday season.
yeah, and same to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Have a great night, everybody.
You too.
Okay.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
You want to cover the new business with these guys first, or you want to go through your stuff, Isabel?
This stuff's pretty quick, if I can just bang it out quickly. So the guard counts, I don't have those today. The system was doing an update. When I get those, I'll send it to you as soon as I can. The fuel gallons, it's too early in the month to get that. I'll probably get it Friday or Monday of this week, the fuel.
Oh, for what, from the
Yeah,
number?
and then I'll have to send that to you too. Yeah, it's too early in the month. She's usually like 5, 6. And the only expenditures we have go against our utility bill. Templeton Light and Water, $668.17 for this month. And a Hafner's bill for heating oil.
Yeah.
I actually have to pay this. This is not paid yet. That's to fill the tank. And the windsock cost, they sent us for free, it was $165.15. And that's it, so I'll get those things to you as soon as
What'd you say that was $165?
$165
But that
and
was
19
free.
cents for the free windsock.
Now, that's the type 2, right?
Yes, yeah. Yes.
Is
We
this
have it.
mine, or
It's-
is
It's
it-
in the closet.
Is this mine?
36
No, I
by
need-
12, size 2, durable, orange nylon ripstop.
Yeah.
FAA compliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other one, didn't last very long. Anyway, that's all I have for
I
that.
just wanted to make sure we had one so that we can
Yeah,
put it down in the shed, down the storage there.
okay, and I was
Because
gonna
I found
ask,
that right away when I went down. And,
yeah,
it
I was
just-
gonna ask Owen for one as well, because it's got the mask on.
yeah,
See what
good.
he says.
So the weather takes these things out, is that what happened?
That's what happened.
The wind here was unbelievable, and it just shredded it.
Where's it flying up, Jason?
The windsock.
Right here, that lighted windsock, but when you looked at the material, it was all
It's cloth.
faded from the sun, so it didn't look good. And it was only a year old, a year and a half old, so.
Yeah. That didn't look like it was very rugged.
It didn't look rugged at all, yeah.
I had a picture of
Was
it.
it American made?
I think
Good
it
question.
was.
I always see the ads for the flag.
It was,
After it was my
It's
flag.
made in Brainerd, Minnesota. Hallie Bright.
but it was like more of a cloth thing, and it just sunbaked. And it just, you could,
Dried
it
out.
was,
Baked,
I mean, it literally was shredded.
Yeah,
And this one here is a 36-inch diameter with 12 feet long.
Wow.
The bigger one's type 2. And relatively easy to change, take about an hour and a half. But the one that the state sent us is a lot heavier, it's more plastic. And I think it'll stand up a lot better. We'll see.
Jim, I'd like to add to the minutes, when I spoke to Isabel about the pusher plow that I purchased for the use of the airport, to make sure that, I just want to put it on the minutes, that that's my plow that I'm letting the airport
Yeah.
loan. And it works great, it does everything that they said it was supposed to do, so it's an asset to the
What do you need to push it?
loader.
The loader.
It attaches to, I would have liked to have got the quick connect, but that was another $6,000 more, so.
and
The,
it's got the two sides, so you're not losing the snow out the sides, and you have
Well,
to
you see
chase
it in
the.
all the parking lots. It's
Yeah, wonderful.
It's a great add-on to that machine.
How wide?
12 feet.
I stopped by Brookside. They had one with a quick connect on it
Yeah.
for John Deere. And it was $2,500.
Really?
But it had where they ran into a,
Post
Post.
or something? Yep.
because it's a rubber,
Yeah, it's a very thick rubber.
thick rubber
blade. It's like a giant
blade,
squeegee.
but it's got a plate that holds it in place.
Yep.
And that had a perfect curve in it,
Mhm.
and so,
Yeah, I looked high and low for a decent one that wasn't all
Yeah.
ganged up, and I found a decent one down in Shrewsbury.
that's actually
Yeah.
comparable to
It's a
it.
really nice machine,
Yep.
add-on to the machine, but,
Great.
quick connect would make life easier, but it's not horrible. I got the chains in the connectors to make it work, so it worked fine last night. I had no issues with it.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, very good. What was I gonna say? There was something else.
That thing works, huh?
Oh, and MIT, let me put this, MIT was here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times in November.
Yeah, you got each team,
Yeah, I don't know the team name, but I know that they're different teams.
'cause,
You could ask them.
yeah, there's one that's been working on methane detection, and then there's one that's working on intercepting the aircraft. And then there's another one that's, and the guys that were here today, I'm not sure exactly, they were looking on the little ones, the real small ones, but,
It was a small one, yeah.
yeah. Okay, anybody got anything else before we dive into what you guys have?
Our guest for the evening,
Huh?
our guest for the
Our
evening.
guest speakers. Can you guys, before you leave, I just need some information, I'll put it on the back of the paper here, so I can log you into your organization, so if you call me, it comes up. I get like 4 or 5 spam calls a day on my cell phone. If I don't answer them unless I get, they come up as somebody I know.
Right,
So, I'd rather talk to you than not. But, feel free to jump in here and how you going?
Cool. Great. I guess we'll introduce ourselves first.
Yeah,
My name's Adam Tajian. Just want to say thank you so much for allowing us to come to speak here today. Isabel, thank you for picking up my phone call. It was amazing. This is really an honor, and we're very excited to introduce our project to you guys. Longtime native, Central Mass. Been doing aero modeling for over 25 years now. In case you don't know what aero modeling is, this is what it is. We take full we scale down full-size aircraft and we make them fly, just like the real ones. And they're powered with various things, including turbine jet engines. So we'll dive into more of that later on. But this is my friend Joel, Rose's wife.
Hi. Yeah, thanks, Adam.
Yeah.
So I've been flying for 40 years. First starting with helicopters, and then most lately in the last 3.5, 4 years flying fixed wing. Now I fly jets, so I brought this turbine-powered helicopter of mine as well as that jet. And yeah, I fly at 5 different clubs currently, both at Plum Island, I fly at Crow Island, and Wachusett Flyers in Sterling, fly at New England Heli Crew, and most recently we're flying at Woodstock Airport in Connecticut. And yeah, we are, so why are we here today? We are interested in forming a club where we can make use of your paved runway for the high performance aircraft that we fly. You know, some of these can fly off the grass, but it's a much better experience for us when we fly off of the pavement. So when we fly at Plum, for instance, or at Woodstock, it's with the jets, it's amazing. It's just the best experience that we could have. So we've been on the lookout for a location where we could form a small club and have access to a facility like yours. So that's so really, yeah, we want to take our collective experience, our passion, and our modeling, put it together, and you know, have a venue such as Gardner to go ahead and fly. So we've been talking about you know, what the, you know, how we want to do that. With your permission, we would go ahead and charter an AMA club that would make it an official club, which would have us follow Academy of Aeronautics rules as well as FAA regulations and so forth. We're all seasoned, so we're well familiar with FAA regulations as well as other rules that govern the hobby, so we're not newcomers to the hobby in any way. But we would use that community-based organization to form the framework for the club that we would make here. And you know, the intention is that you know, we would have a great place to fly, and there'd be a benefit to the Gardner Airport for having us as well, because we'd be a source of revenue for you. We'd be looking to, you know, pay the airport for the privilege of flying here, as well as renting hangar space. We can certainly put space to use, so it'd be that way a source of money. We're interested as a community organization and having outreach events, having fun flies, for instance, where they're open up to the public, the community at large can come, other aero monitors can come. Those are, you know, revenue generating, and so it's another way for us to provide some money back to the airport as well.
Usually on the weekends?
Yeah, usually they'd be on the weekends. Some of the larger events might be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The timing is not super important, but historically, you know, they're weekends.
And you mentioned you have insurance. The insurance covers you like an umbrella policy?
We get sanctioned through the Academy of Model Aeronautics to help us with that.
Oh, okay.
Andy's here to help us.
So if there's anything else.
How fast do they go?
Well, the jets they can hit about 200 miles an hour. And we're not, yeah, we don't exceed that. That's a limit to the limit that we have with the Academy of Model Aeronautics. So we do that. The helicopters, of course, fly a lot more slowly. They're actually our goal with the scale helicopters is to fly them like the full size. So if we're doing a good job, they mimic the flight patterns that a full size would do. So it's generally slow, gentle flight. And the hobby, I don't know how familiar everyone is with the aeromodeling hobby, but it spans, pre-built kits that you can get, take out of the box and fly, to scratch-built machines where the person is developing all the parts and pieces that they need, and there's also kits that are built. So it's everything in between. So it's been an amazing hobby for us to get to exercise all our technical know-how, be engineers, and in fact inspire some of us to become engineers. There's a whole STEM tie-in with aeromodeling that is great, where we always look for kids to get interested in model aviation, bring them into the hobby, and it also encourages them to do look at technical careers and grow their technical skill and make them more adept at doing practical things in the world. It's rich, and so those of us who've been in for a while, we have a tremendous amount of skills. Building, flying, teaching, using equipment, the actual piloting itself, and those are things that we get to share when we're in a cloud environment like this. So anyway, happy to answer any questions you have, but basically, yeah, we're very much interested in making use of your runway and the facilities here.
So for instance, that airplane, what's your ground roll on? So we're 3,000 feet long.
Yeah.
What would the ground roll be on a turbo?
Yeah, it's comfortable with about 300 feet to take off. Yeah, you can do a little bit less, but 300 is exactly.
And then how high do you go?
Most of that stuff, I'm only going to let you now because I believe most of you have had experience here. I know we have. The last time
She hasn't been here. I've been here when they used to come for the weekend.
So this is all new
Yeah.
to you about, right?
This is all new to them.
So-
3 years.
I think you were around.
here in,
I'm new here too.
you were here in 2022.
Yes.
Yeah, when I came and we spoke at that time. So in any event, I'm Joe. Did you introduce your name at the beginning?
My name, I didn't get.
Did he say your name?
He introduced you.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
It's like-
Joe is one of our associate vice presidents. From the last time we were here, I'm for anybody that doesn't know me, my name is Andy Argenio. I'm on the executive board for the Academy. Our headquarters are in Indiana. There's 11 of me around the country. And I'm from
There's only
England,
one Andy.
so I keep getting reelected every year. In fact, I try to get one of these young guys to take over, but that just doesn't happen. They follow.
He still does it better than I do.
Yeah. So of the 11 of us around the United States, we deal with the national issues. I'm on most of the committees. I work directly with the FAA, risk assessments, all that kind of good stuff. So if you need help in those areas, we know where aviation is. I can tell you this much in terms of the FAA. When I last saw you in you were just starting the construction, and people were happy with the idea that in addition to having a club here, which is kind of nice if you can incorporate them with the drones, the nice part about that is it gives extra people to help with the responsibilities we need when we're flying to meet our safety requirements. Every one of our pilots that flies an aircraft flies with a spotter. Someone's next to him. A guy like this has a radio. He's in communication with the pilots.
Airports
So
in particular.
we typically now, the big change from when we talked, and we didn't get back to you at the time, because there was construction, it got delayed, and then finally it picked up. By the time you did that, our activities in New England, which I kind of head up, besides my national duties, jumped from a few events a year at airports to the last 2 years, we've been averaging 12 events. I think it was 2024.
24
This year
events.
was 10 events. So that's almost every weekend. And there were events at municipal and regional and small airports where we go in and we set up. We also have a partner, some of these, Rich Little, who's an airline.
Fundraising
also.
organizations that
Yeah.
host the events,
He raises.
gain access to people
Yeah.
like you and
Yeah.
rent the
I
place
mean,
out.
if we wanted to do a larger event like we used to do here years back, and that's what our interest was in, to help raise money. And in those years, I mean, first events I did were in 2002, 3, 4. We did a Hunt Fest here. So it was, I was driving him at night now this time, so it was a little bit different than me looking around, but I haven't seen the new runway yet. I'm excited about that, but what we're looking for is to help them, to get them in and integrate them in if they can possibly have time here in a window to be able to fly, because we see them as a good resource. But what we had talked about at that time, early on, and people were in favor of it, is doing some community events where we draw in a lot of people. At one time, this airport brought in 10,000 people when we did a first turbine meet over here. We go to the parking lot. I can tell you right now that the events that we're running now, we do them at Plum Island Airport, we do them at Southbridge Municipal Airport, we do them at Logan, we do a STEM activity there, Rochester at the Skyhaven Airport, Mount Washington at the airport there. We went, this was a big year for us. We did Thunder over New Hampshire. We flew with the Blue Angels. We had actually designated 28 minutes of flight line. I mean, the top pilots in the country don't get that, so we were excited. It's been 50 years. 50 years I've been trying to get us back in. I'm from Rhode Island, so I'm New England. I was trying to get us back in at Quonset. For the Quonset Air Show, we have the Blue Angels.
I have a few questions, okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
You're moving right along.
She left off with a good one too. How high?
What's the name of the organization that used to come here in the summer, at least once a year?
With the jet Mike Terrasso?
What's that?
What was they called? What was their organization name?
Well, that was the Academy of Model Aeronautics. That was, Jeff came here, and Mike, he was with the FAA.
I remember.
Jack Buckley was
So
here.
this is a different organization than the one that's in the habit of coming here like once a year for
I think this,
one event. I don't.
was it the AMA, right?
It was the AMA.
Was it?
AMA.
So the AMA, here, maybe it clarifies it, the AMA is like a parent organization like the FAA. These guys are in a
American
club.
Modelers Association.
Academy of Model.
If you
These
want,
gentlemen, myself, we represent individual clubs, which are like
The
the
reason-
Not that
airports.
it matters, but I've been building models
Yeah.
since I was
Yeah.
10,
yeah,
through the age of 48.
how old are you now?
I'm now 75.
49.
At age 48, I decided to get a real airplane. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Pattern airplanes,
No,
all
it's
kinds
nice
of,
to
none
know
of the
that.
fancy
Yeah.
stuff that you guys do.
Yeah.
How many times a year might you come here with your organization to fill this airport up with all of your enthusiasts and
Well,
flyers?
the point is, we usually start off with maybe one event here to try to see how things work out.
How often do you show up at Plum Island, for example?
Well, most of our clubs do 1 or 2 or 3 events a year. If the event is an outreach event to reach the public, it's different than an in-reach when you're working with your.
So there might be a couple,
to
2,
some
3
event.
events here in Gardner if we were to.
So
Well,
there's two
yes,
separate
and you
things
might,
happening.
and you
At
might
least
even want to have an event here that goes beyond what we typically did in the past. In the past, our events, I consider them in-reach events because we're benefiting members. We brought our members in and then the public came in to watch what they did. So we engaged them in all the latest aircraft, the big jets that
So
we
you're
have.
saying that there might, if we get in bed with you, there
We
might be
can also
2,
bring
3
full-
events a year?
Yeah, we can even
But
also bring in
I think he's missing the point.
full scale. We can bring in full scale
These
pilots
two.
too.
So we have, there's two separate things, so let me take 5 for just
Joel's
a
got
minute. So there's, our goal, Adam and I are trying to get permission to fly here and build a club and run out of Gardner.
Much
And
smaller.
that is separate from any events. As a club, we are interested in running events open to the public, open to other
Or
air
district
modelers,
events.
that they can join and participate, whether or not it's a jet fly-in, or it's helicopters, or it's regular aircraft. Now, historically, Gardner has hosted the Jets Over Gardner jet event, which was huge, and Andy is talking about that.
Yeah.
We're also interested in putting on such an event at some point. We have to get established first, assuming we've got permission to operate here and to have a club and make a presence, which is really the first call to action. That has to happen. If we do, then it gives us the opportunity to form the club and host such an event and actually put that on. Because I wouldn't be suggesting that we just host an event with no presence
Even when
here.
they do a local event, they go through the academy, so all the insurance, all the criteria, all the look at the site. In fact, we go to the site, we can convert this site into a FRIA site. A FRIA site is an FAA-recognized identification area, which means if we convert that and put it into a space out there, they won't require remote ID modules. If someone were to come here now, they'd have to broadcast out a registration number
GSP.
off their aircraft. The other thing it does is it opens the window up for them to fly to the levels that people can fly up. So why do people join the AMA and not some other organization? Because we can fly higher. We're able to we get NOTAMs, we can go directly with the FAA, within 20 minutes we have a NOTAM. We can go up to 2,000 feet and we can go up to Class E airspaces without anything up to Class
Do
E
you have
700
any SPR?
and 1,200. So
SPR?
we
It's a mile a minute.
we
That's
also
what-
can fly higher, faster, and so they join
Yeah,
us
she
for
asked-
all that.
she
Yeah,
asked
I
about-
can't hear you.
She asked about
ADSBR?
So
ADSB, yeah, we don't, no, these don't have it, but anybody that,
RID is what it's
anybody
called,
that
that you
wants
mentioned it.
to-
So I don't know if I've had my question answered yet, but
Yeah.
how many events might there be in Gardner, Massachusetts at this airport if we were to get involved with you guys and
okay, if you're
Why do
talking
you form a
about, if you're
club?
talking about the events like we ran in the past, we would incorporate certainly the club might set the direction they want to go in, or they may come to me, which many clubs do, and say, we'd like to have a district event, we want to bring in more models, we want it marketed in a different fashion, and that's what we would do. So if you ask how
you
many,
know, the issue is,
typically it's a couple of events.
you know, we fly normal airplanes, this gentleman and I do, and it's a pain in the ass to try to land and take off at the
Private
airport when
planes.
one of these events is going on.
Right.
So
Well,
I'm
let's
sort of,
we talk about safety.
I'm sort of curious as to how
And
often
so-
are we gonna have, you know, some of these jets and lovely little craft flying at this airport if we were to get in bed with you?
Well, I don't know, that's up to you. You're the ones that are turning around and saying to us, we're willing to allow our club to come in here. We would like to give you X amount of time. When we go to the airports that we go to now, like I said, we're doing 12 a year, we're loaded, but when we go there, we fly under their conditions, but most of the time before we're even there, decisions are made. We're gonna have a flight time, it's gonna be from this time in the morning to that time. If any full-scale aircraft come in, we work with the flight force, we have radios, we know you're there. If you came in, we could bring our airplanes down in 2 minutes beyond the ground and away. So if you looked at any of our videos from our events at Beverly, at Concord, at any of the airports
I've
this
tried to
size.
come into, you know,
You don't seem to get your question, but.
Hold on a second. For example, Plum Island.
I've
is-
been in there more than one time where
So
you
they
guys
host
are flying.
massive events there
Yeah.
sometimes, and they operate a flight school out of there, there's a lot of air traffic coming
That's a
and going.
different story.
We call
Their
it,
first and foremost, their
pretty common.
primary rule, I just got invited to become a member there, they have a limited membership, which is something also you could do is, we
It's the Plum Island Model Airplane Association or something
correct
like that?
Plum Island Model Aircraft Association.
Yeah.
So they have certain members that are qualified and trained to use the radios, to have fire extinguishers, and to have a spotter. So I don't know personally how busy this airport is, whether you guys have
Not very busy.
constant traffic.
Not very busy.
But in the end, we pretend there's always somebody going to be on final approach. We always pretend there's going to be, whether they call it or not. Could be a Cub with no electronics in it. We want to have spotters out there that'll visually maintain separation, and then we also want to have a radio on board. So
So
Plum
each
Island,
plane has a spotter with a radio.
When they're flying,
every
when they're
single,
flying and go up to a flight line,
Every
a
single
spotter
plane.
comes up and spots spotter.
if we're at one of our own fields, just like you probably used to fly a grass field somewhere, a baseball field, nobody's
let me
watching.
introduce it. So as far as I'm concerned, Adam's concerned, if we got permission to fly, we would get started with one event for the year, just to try it out. That's all we would
And
want
you
to
guys
do.
would have notice well in advance, and obviously in collaboration to figure out what would work best for you as well.
So,
We wouldn't, well, we
Well,
want to impede our
yeah,
ability.
we don't want to get in the way of
Boys.
the airport, you know,
Joe.
we want to see if it
That's the
coexists,
runway
if
still
it works,
the runway
and
too.
Joe,
assuming
you
it did,
don't-
and we
Events.
expanded if it made sense to do that. So-
I'm thinking that decision should be there. If they're looking for revenue, a good revenue stream, then you might want to think about the fact that a district-sponsored event is going to bring them in more revenue
Sure.
than a club event. So it depends where you people want to go as to where you would like to see us. And so we can easily accommodate the club independent events or a jet meet only. But if you want to do what we talked about in 2022 that we didn't get to, if you want a broader event that brings the mayor down here, that draws in a large audience outside, just to bring some additional revenue in. I mean, typically we get at the smaller airports a conquered, for example, 5,000 people. The larger airports, when we run 2-day events, we can bring in as many as 15,000. When we did Pease Air Force Base for the first time, we're talking 80,000 people were there. Now, we set up a...
We weren't the draw there.
But that was a full-size
You
aircraft.
know,
Yeah.
that's a different thing altogether.
Can I have a word in real quick?
Please.
Thanks. Al Cosentino here.
I'll kind of
New member. I've flown in here with Mike and, what was his guy's name?
Jeff.
Jeff. I have their names in my phone,
Yeah,
matter of
that's
fact.
right.
I have a t-shirt that they gave me, I was in these events. I never had a problem flying in here during those events. They always stopped everything for me.
Right.
When anybody else that flew in here, I've gone to Plum Island and been with those, I think it was Willimantic, Connecticut, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken. They had a similar small event.
And we had a guy that come in...
Hold on,
about the
let
engines.
me finish. Slow down, all right? Slow down. It's all right. It's not a race.
keep his caffeine.
We got baby steps here, all right? Baby steps here. I'm more than happy to see you guys come here because I think it's a great thing, all right? And start a little event like Mike and Jeff had, that brought in some good stuff. If things get bigger, great. If it, can't handle it, that's one thing. I mean,
Right.
I'm just one voice here, but I think what you guys are trying to do here, you gotta start somewhere, and you want to start here. I think it's positive.
Yeah, I too think it's a good idea.
And we're quiet,
So-
and we're not opposed to a little revenue, huh, Jim?
We'd like to help. I think a crawl, walk, run
Yeah,
is the
sure.
approach.
No.
We don't know how it could be, but we don't want to do anything that's detrimental to the
I
airport.
mean, they
which
had
is
a
why-
couple of small incidents here where a couple of the planes went into the ground, there's no problem. They put the flames out, there was no problem.
Right.
It happens, they're not supposed to fly according to physics.
And those are things we're well equipped to do. We have our own CO2 extinguishers, we would keep them here as well, so have the appropriate firefighting equipment. We have spotters, we have trained pilots, we also have proficiency
Yeah,
program to
those
make sure
aircraft,
that pilots
shocking
are.
price tag too. So they
You
don't
people in
throw them away.
your world are just like us licensed pilots with our airplanes. I see the machines that they drive in here, when a guy comes in with a Peterbilt tractor trailer with a really nice trailer, and he's got all kinds of jets in there and some airliners that are on the walls.
Yeah.
He's not just an amateur, he's in for the long haul, he's got a lot of money tied up in that. So I don't think you guys are a joke, I think you guys are all right. I just want to say that, so I'm done.
Well, I don't think we're a joke. We don't think we're a joke either. We love this stuff, and really our primary agenda is to find a great place to fly. We do want to help the airport that we, fly at, because that's a good symbiotic relationship, right? We want to be here, and we want you to want us to be here, and make that a mutually beneficial arrangement. That's all. There's a lot of opportunity for growing what we do. It can go in lots of different ways. I've done lots of events with Andy and with Doug. It's great. I'm of the opinion, if we were to get approval to start, we build a club, and then we could consider planning an event when it made sense for the airport to have that sort of activity here, and then we go off and do it. It wouldn't be random. We
Are
wouldn't show up.
there members of your club right now that,
So this club doesn't yet exist.
this club does not exist, so
Right.
you don't have a group that you're planning to build?
We have 5 people that would be interested immediately in working with us to form a club. We are interested, we would limit it to 10 people for the first year total and see what it's like, just so that, nobody gets committed to something that they don't like. It doesn't work for you, we don't want to be too deep, and if it didn't work for us, we don't want to be too deep, so yeah, keep it manageable for us. So it would literally require Adam and I form the charter club, and there's established guidelines for doing that. We go off and do our paperwork, and it gives us all the AMA approvals that we need.
A copy,
Yeah,
flip ring, collaborative agreement.
club charter and all that stuff.
Roughly speaking, you try to keep the aircraft at or below 2,000 feet?
Yes, and
How
definitely,
how about laterally, to the west and to the east? How about that?
it's always been
Visual line of
subject,
sight.
yeah, it's always visual line of sight, and it's subject to really the local
Airspace on the ground here,
geography.
2,700 feet.
Right.
So we would likely have some sort of waiver. We're limited to 400 feet, correct?
Right.
Even with the turbines.
That
Right now, we're
Yeah,
limited to
you gotta stop
400
with
feet.
that point. We have to establish, if we're gonna set up, the best thing to do is for them to set up a rear site. That means it won't be an oval or a circle, it'll be a polygon that'll represent a virtual fence of the area they're gonna have to fly in. And once that's established, that's where they're gonna be able to operate, because they don't wanna have to put, most of them don't wanna have to buy modules, they don't wanna have to be working under another set of rules that you're flying under when you're flying without a module. So that's what we do at most of the airports around. We're flying under.
It'd be shaped to however
So
you
we
like.
take, we'll look at a satellite view of this.
Karen's house over there, you don't want to fly over it, we make a little U around it. Don't fly near Karen's
But
house.
to directly answer your question, it depends on the aircraft. When I'm flying my jet, I may go out, it could be 1,000 feet laterally, right? When I'm flying a helicopter, I'm within, 500-600 feet radius. So it depends on the flight envelope of the aircraft. If I can't see it, I can't control it, so I don't want to
Look
go
at the
too far.
limitations, the box itself. If he wants to go out 500, somebody else wants to go 800, and we've got 2,000, that's fine. So look at it as a box, a controlled area, it's the freer site, that's the place they have to stay.
We also-
The pilots adjust to that when they're flying. If they're flying smaller aircraft where they cut corners, they're gonna be in closer. They sometimes don't mix well with the larger aircraft who run the gamut right to that extreme points. And somebody's coming in going.
From your point of view, this nice little airport has pretty much
Yeah.
no congestion, other than maybe a little bit to the north here.
We have a controlled flight line too. We don't break a 180 plane, obviously we high we keep it in front, because of that same, like, we're not gonna be buzzing the tower, so to speak,
Jim, are we voting on this subject today or something? Is that what we're doing?
I don't know if we have to, do we, or I don't know, what do you think?
Talk about it at the
I think
next
we,
meeting.
I've been always been for it. I mean, when you guys were here for the weekend, they stored the plane in my hangar around my plane. I've got pictures of 20 of them parked around my airplane, so they didn't take them apart several times. And that they were here doing it. I think that the biggest thing is to get, people have to know the rules in order to, that they are going to fly by. If David was coming in, I expect to see him, he's gonna fly a downwind base and fly it. He's gonna make radio calls when he can and all that. Anybody who comes in is gonna fly that way. So then, once you see them, you can, if they are, coming at a specific time. I know there was, when they were flying before, they used to like 10 to noon. And if you were flying in to come to the event, they all knew they had to be here before 10 o'clock in the morning.
That's it.
And then,
No one's only go so far.
yeah, but you can state that it's, the airport's gonna be closed for that period if you need to, but you're always open for emergency. We never really closed. I don't know how Kenny put the NOTAM out. I don't know how that was put out.
There's a 7711 form, I believe, that's, you can get that done, but still, we wouldn't want to do that. If it's not that busy.
If we don't have to, but I mean, for the bigger
Yeah.
events, you can.
We're all seeing.
We have to do that.
You just marry,
It benefits us, we get the extra insurance when we do
I
that.
mean, if you've ever been to Sun and Fun or to Oshkosh,
They have specific rules.
you have very specific rules
Yeah.
and you ain't nothing else going
If you
on.
don't follow those.
Well,
Even
you're
though
all
that's
for
the
or
max.
against this?
I'm all for this,
I'm
guys.
for it.
I think these
Yeah,
guys
I'm
are,
always- I
I
am as
don't
well.
think I think they're gonna be just fine.
Yeah.
I think
Thanks,
it's gonna be a good thing.
And
You
then-
guys are gonna be back to work, so have a good
All right,
day.
thank you.
So much.
See everybody.
Okay, Al, thanks.
All the flying that they do come under our safety.
I'm very
Our
confident in that.
booklet was started back in 1936. We flew under an advisory circular in 1982. Since then, when the drones came into play, starting in 2008, we had to have every guideline that we have. Some people say, oh, it's just guidelines. No, it's not. Because when FAA got involved and they went through their integration, safe integration of national airspace, it had 3 different reauthorizations of that act. Each time they do that, they review our safety programming. So our safety programming is always getting upgraded and approved by them. Anybody that joins the AMA, any of these fellows here, they agree to operate under those conditions. If they don't, we have a process, a grievance process, and everything else. Because we don't want to lose all these wonderful airports and flight sites that we have on public, commercial, and private property. And the way we do that is to adhere to our safety programming. And it's extensive. And that's how we're able to fly larger airplanes, turbine airplanes that nobody else can.
Right.
Because we've written the safety programming. Even VVLOS, flying beyond visual line of sight, is now being worked on at the academy because we know that's coming. The sensory stuff we can put on these aircraft now, just like the ones they put in cars, they are going to avoid any conflicts. It's going to change what we do.
It's actually easier with airplanes than it is with cars, but, yeah, and it's,
But
there's a lot of talk around it.
to address, your concern, starting small, keeping it small, having, controls in place. We're gonna have a whole chartered club set of rules, including like, we're even thinking ID tags with lanyards so that we know who's there, we can identify them quickly, is paramount so that, we know the flow of this
And
place and we can teach the new people who come in and everyone's on the same page is the most important.
What you have to
You don't want
tell
strangers.
these guys
And old
is
China.
when you have any houses that are close by, that when we've had former meetings have complained, because that's usually where we get ourselves in trouble. We want to know where those hot spots are, so we can design the site, so we're furthest away from them, and we don't irritate them. Otherwise, this could be very short term. You go over there, you find out you got a senator over here, and somebody else over there, and
It's
before you know it, you're out in the cold.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I don't
There's always
remember
one.
now of any
There's always
incidents.
one.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Other than using the runway, you can form a club. Now you're gonna have meetings with this club, you're gonna need facilities for meeting.
You don't need to.
We don't need to, we would have,
So you're gonna meet somewhere else and then bring your equipment here to fly.
the primary use of the facility would be for flying.
So you don't need,
It's not required, we could meet
Unless
anywhere that we want.
unless we're afforded the ability to rent a hangar as well, which would be,
Yeah, if we end up getting to rent a hangar, then we probably, we might do that on the space that we have, but that's certainly not a requirement for us.
okay, so, and the flight would be like one day or it's gonna be a whole weekend?
Well, if we were forming a club, we'd like access anytime that we're available to fly. The events are, those are on specific dates for the year, but if we had a club, we're talking about general operation where we could show up with no notice on any day and fly, just like anyone with a full-size plane.
How do the drone people operate here, so we understand that? Are they?
They do a NOTAM for everything. They got two blanket ones out right now.
Yeah, I saw one yesterday.
And, yeah, they're up, there's one that goes from August to February. But we've been talking because we had one of the instructors came in with a student and they were upset that there was a drones flying around. We have the road coming in here, we have the other side, the east side of the road is, we have some of the organizations come in and they're doing low-level stuff, but we do restrict them to 400 feet because you can get the ultralights and stuff down to 800 and the pattern altitude is 1,000 feet above the ground.
Yeah,
And everybody's gotta play by the right rules, because if you're in the right spot, there's no problem. If they aren't, then we got a problem. And the two approaches here both are, the ceiling is 800 feet, the floor is 800 feet that they can come down to above the airport, so if they're flying an actual approach. But that's why I have to sit and meld all the rules together, and then a NOTAM when they're out flying is probably the best thing to do, but you can do that, like you say, in 15, 20 minutes, if that.
Yeah.
To just get Lighthouse to pick it up and they post it right away. And,
Will they be flying the drone people in the same location at the site that you fellas are gonna be thinking about
Well,
operating your?
this is where the problem, see, I've got people who go the east side there, and that's pretty much free range over there, but they've been using a little closer to the runway because they have this trailer and everything, and I've got 3 groups flying all around at the same time. And they were
But they're
flying
not
up
here
there.
every day.
They're not here every day, but during the week, they're here a lot.
How would
that's-
this club interface with them and know what times
That area,
they can
correct?
come versus the?
They're
other?
from about 9 o'clock, 9 to 10 o'clock till about 4,
If I had to
3 or
guess,
4 in the afternoon.
these
They'll be
gentlemen
here all
would be
day.
set up to use the runway
Yeah.
and flying out in that area.
That area there is the hill.
So, have you guys observed that? Is it too much of a hill? I would say, obviously, we're not gonna fly over the ramp
Well,
or the hangars.
that's actually not the bad worst place. See, the guys who fly now, they fly this area here, from the road this way here. There are some drones out here in the swamp, and there's some more over in here that they've never
I
found.
mean, we're primarily
But
over the runway.
we would
If
be-
you're
need to
over
be
the
around.
runway, that's where I look at that's where everybody mixes. And I get cautious at that. Now, we were using from about here up to this end of the runway before. There is a house just off the picture was somebody, that's the closest piece of property. And there are a couple of houses out in here. Two of them are commissioners here, they're not here tonight. But, and the one guy that donated all this land for the airport lives right there. And,
Friendly, hopefully.
Yes,
So they're good.
very
Good
much.
neighbors, okay.
but he's a million years old. But the only time we've ever gotten complaints is on the approach from the north, which is the only GPS approach we have. And that brings him down to about 800 feet. I don't know why they complained. He's in a relatively new housing development. He has to drive on Airport Road, and he didn't know there was an airport here. So,
It was here well before he got there.
yeah.
But anyway, I'm for it, yeah, I'm
I
for
think
it.
it's
I think
just,
it's a good idea.
if
I
you,
think
because the
that's
air
fine.
boss is the key guy
Give them
that'll
something
keep
to,
everybody apart.
some fun. Yeah.
And that's,
You guys wanna,
and I was watching, Mike,
You can
regarding the
incorporate your,
I think
that has a ton of viruses on it, so we can't.
He was good.
There's some safety material,
And I have
a video
out
of one of our
in
events in
oh,
case.
wonderful.
He was operating, and they were actually flying.
No, I
And
haven't.
that's our outdoor video, and then some AMA safety.
And it just.
All right, I'll look at it and then I'll give it to Jim so he can look at
one
it.
of the things we'd want to know is, you know, what sort of
Very good.
payment would the airport need from us in order to have the privilege of flying here? So,
That's,
how much cash would you need?
I'm gonna
We would have to talk about
Let's-
that, it wouldn't be,
close the meeting out.
yes, yeah, I have to get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we got
We
for
just have to
time?
make sure it's feasible for us to afford.
6:26, we'll
So,
close the meeting.
Okay, yes.
And I mentioned we're also interested
David,
in hangar space.
close the meeting.
So if that's a separate.
Jim, I move we close the meeting, yes, sir.